about getting in the way of our own success.
Man, it's the Ville. We got civilians in the hills, on the streets, in the trap, on the beach. Dealerships worth a few million each. Random folks that'll take pictures with you, say cheese. Music City represent, talking way about.
Right? We've done it. We've all done it, right? I've done it. Jason's done it. Anthony's done it. What we do is what we'll do is we'll start to take, it's almost like Occam's razor, right? We got to take the most simplistic answer and that'll be it. But usually what we do is we try to we'll overcomplicate it, we'll overthink it, we'll put all this energy, right? And again, guys, it's energy spent on something when sometimes it's just the simplest answer, right? Simple. SIMPLE. Let's keep it simple, right? KISS, right? Keep it short and simple. So what we do, sorry about that, the expo's running out a little bit, right? Shout out from Boston, y'all. What's up, Matt? What's going on? So I want everybody to understand, right? We want to keep it as simple as possible. We don't want to overthink things or overanalyze things. And I know a lot of times people will see what we do and go, oh my God, you guys, this is so easy. And then you start doing it and all of a sudden you get overwhelmed, just this overwhelming amount of information thrown at you. Boom, 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 boom. And you don't know where to start. Like you don't, right? It's like, oh my God, do I start here? Do I start here? Do I start here? Where do I start? Here's what I want everybody to understand. If we give you, right, if Jason or myself or Anthony gives you a task, we want you to master that task, right? Again, I don't want people to think that this is a sprint, right? Sprint, let's put it down, SPRINT. We're going to circle that and we're going to put a big red line through that. This isn't a sprint, guys. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. I don't even know if you can see it over here. It's a marathon. I don't even know if you can see it. Yep, it goes right out of the camera. So, right, understand is what we're doing. If you're in our Master's Business Academy, right, and you're working with us one-on-one, we want you to understand that sometimes you got to pull back a little bit, pull back. I know it's exciting. I know there's a lot of information. I can promise you we want to get you to where you want to be. But we've also got to understand that this is a marathon, guys. It's not a sprint. A lot of times what happens is people get out there and they want to make this a sprint and I'll use this term, they start half-assing things or they don't want to master the craft. And in the end, right, they just start getting in the way of their own success. They start overanalyzing something, overthinking something, especially if you're not a true master at something. Like I do I'm the one who does like 90% of our lives. I do 90% of our lives. Why? I'm used to public speaking. I used to public speak, right? I would get up in front of people, 400, 500 person audience, and I would be able to go ahead and speak in front of them. But let me tell you something, it didn't start with me getting up in front of a 500 person audience and just start fluidly going at it. It started out with a small room of people. I used to, many moons ago, I used to teach guerrilla marketing, right? And what I would teach these guys to do is get up in front of to practice what we would call practice their pitch. I would have them do what's called a morning impact, right? Or an evening impact. So I would choose one person, and it was a privilege to be able to get up in front of this room of people, maybe 10, 20 people, to be able to get up in front of them and speak in front of them. But the first time I did it, I was shaking. I mean, shaking. like freaking out, right? I didn't understand it. I was like, God, I should be really good at this. I love talking to people. I can talk to my friends. But why is it when I'm standing up in front of a crowd of people, all of a sudden I get the, oh shit, right? I start mumbling over my words. I start stuttering, right? It's just one of those things. And it took me probably 3 months, right? 3 months of getting up in front of people to be able to start speaking in front of them without having this, right, this nervousness inside of me to be able to do it, right? And sometimes even being able to do things off the cuff, right? Just like a lot of my lives, right? I write them out. I write out my lives. I've got another whiteboard right over here that I can take a look at, right? And I can kind of put my notes up there and see what what do I want to hit on next? But I can flow through it and I can be pretty fluid when I do it. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, so I really feel I've mastered my craft at being able to speak in front of an audience. Same thing with getting on the phone. A lot of you out there, right? A lot of you out there, right, haven't done any kind of, and understand, I want to kind of backtrack a little bit. A lot of you that are doing any kind of high ticket sales, you are going to be speaking to people on the phone now, right? Jason does 90% of that. I almost call Jason the Christopher Walken of our phone sales department. Like Jason's amazing. Jason's amazing. He's phenomenal, right? But when I listen to him, I say to myself, my God, Jason, breathe, 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 but he has an 80% success rate, an 80% success rate on the phone. But what does he do, right? He follows things step by step. He's got the same thing. He's got his little whiteboard or his notes, and he goes through his notes step by step. He covers everything one by one, and then he's able to do it, right? He's able to do it, go through it, and he has just mastered it. He's mastered it so well that Anthony, myself, and another one of our clients last night were talking how Jason, who hasn't read this one particular book we were talking about, Way of the Wolf. Jason hasn't read that book. But Jason has crafted everything in our say, when he gets on the phone, crafted everything as is out of this book by Jordan Belfort, right? Who do we know? Jordan Belfort is what? One of the greatest salesmen there is. Right? We listen to him. There's been a movie about him. I think there's probably been 2 movies about him, I think, right? But they really pointed out the one movie on him, right? A very phenomenal salesman. Able to get up and speak in front of people, able to get on the phone and speak on the phone, right? But one thing that Jordan Belfort said that he had a script. He followed a script, right? So what he didn't do is he didn't try to wing it. He didn't try to go off the cuff. Now, some people are better than others at doing that. Some people just can't do it. But by keeping it simple, following a step-by-step guideline, which we give you, right? We follow this. We keep it simple, but we know, man, this thing just dried out, right? We know, right? This isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. Right, so I don't want people out there getting in their own way. And what I mean by this, right, if you're not good at it, don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about it because you will become good at it. The one thing that I want everybody to do, and I really want people to take notice of some of these lives. Some of my lives are better than others, but I want people to take notice of this particular live. Notice my inflection in my voice. Notice what I'm using my hands. Now imagine me doing that when I'm on the phone with somebody, right? They're feeling that same tonality. That I'm doing right now. These inflections, getting closer, further, things like that, right? So they're feeling that. So when I get on the phone with somebody, I don't get in the way of my own success because why? Because I follow, I do the same thing every time, over and over and over and over again. I don't overthink it. A lot of people out there, they overthink this sales, right? And I'm going to focus in on the sales calls. They overthink these sales calls, right? It's a high ticket call. You have to make it. You have to make it, right? Sending that, I'm telling you right now, guys, if you send somebody a proposal, it's going to be a flip of the coin. Blind squirrel might get a nut. Blind squirrel might get a nut, right? You're going to have to get on the phone with these people. You're going to have to become comfortable speaking to people. You're going to have to become comfortable asking for money. You want to make money in this industry, you want to be a consultant or a coach, or you want to sell a high ticket info product, you're going to have to get on the phone and you are going to have to speak to people, right? But don't let yourself get in the way of it, right? A lot of people say to me, Joe, they'll say, Joe, I'm saying the same thing over and over. And I say to them, exactly. Exactly. You become so comfortable with it that it flows, that it becomes redundant in your own head. And then what you need to do, right? What you need to do is realize that the person that you're speaking to has never heard you say it before. They never heard you say it. Imagine that. I can talk to 100 people a day, and out of those 100 people, nobody will ever have heard me say what I'm saying to them at that exact and very moment. So to them, it's brand new. So this is why, though, what we want you to do, don't overthink that, right? Don't get in the way of your own success, because this is a big thing right now. A lot of our clients right now are in this phone call phase. I know we got one that just made, somebody that just made a phone call, another one who's making another one today, right? And what we don't want you to do is get in the way of yourself, but we don't want to see you get discouraged, because sometimes when we overthink and overanalyze and start thinking it's a sprint and not a marathon, we get discouraged. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, and I promise you, I didn't get to where I am today overnight. It wasn't a snap of my fingers. I've messed up a lot of stuff, right? I've messed up a lot of stuff. And I can promise you, right? I've made money, I've lost money, made money again, lost money again, made it back. And it's crazy, right? It's crazy. What I never did was give up, and what I never did was overthink or overanalyze. What I did do, though, is if I did mess up, I would look at my failures, I would figure out what did I do wrong, and then I wouldn't do that again. That's simple, right? You want to learn from people's failures, and that's a lot of what we're trying to teach you in the high ticket high ticket sales group, right? In the the Masters Business Academy. We want to be able to teach you, right? This is what we did to fail. Here's what, right? And don't be afraid to ask that question. Guys, what did you fail at? We'll be happy to tell you. We will be happy to tell you. Jason and I made bad investments. God, Jason and I made an investment one time. We lost, between the two of us, we lost somewhere in the neighborhood of around $300,000. Imagine that. Imagine that, and then coming out of that, only to do it all over again and to start another business. $300,000. We didn't get in the way, though, of our own success and let that stop us. We knew, right? We knew. You know what? Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again. Don't make the same mistake twice, though. Don't make the same mistake twice. And we didn't. I can promise you we didn't, right? So what we want to realize out of this, and I want you to get the takeaway, is don't get in the way of your own success. It's Occam's razor, right? Keep it as short and simple, as sweet as possible, right? Don't overthink it. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. For those of you who are not used, right? Those of you who are not used to speaking in front of people, you want to know what the best way to do it is? Exactly what I'm doing right now. You don't even have to do a live. Record yourself. Record yourself. You want to know what's amazing, guys? Right now, I'm looking into this tiny little camera right now, talking to you as if I'm talking to you personally. as if I'm talking to you like you're standing right in front of me. Looks as though you are, right? Do the same thing. Record it, watch it. Practice makes perfect, right? Practice makes perfect. Do it again, do it again, do it again. I can promise you practice makes perfect. We've re-recorded our webinar. I think we're on the third or fourth time of recording our webinar because, again, we didn't like the sound of it. We didn't like the tonality of it. We didn't like the way our voices sounded until the last one. And we haven't launched this our last webinar yet, right? We made all kinds of changes, all kinds of, right? Split tested, split tested, split tested. We made all kinds of these changes, right? And until we heard it, we said, yeah, we like this one. We like this one. We could hear the tones in our voice. We could hear everything, right? At some points, right? At some points, we didn't feel the webinar was converting enough. So we didn't get in the way of our own success. All we did was dust ourselves off, do another one, let's put it out there and let's see how this one works. So that's how it always has to be. So many people out there will get in the way of their own success by overthinking something, overanalyzing something. Sometimes you just got to go, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, right? Boom, put it out there. Boom, put it out there. Worst case scenario, they don't like it. Worst case. So what do? Put another one out there. Good example of this. When I run my Facebook advertisements, right? I don't get in the way of my own success. I split test. I run tests and tests and tests. And this is something that I preach upon with Facebook advertising. You're running tests, running tests, running tests, constantly running tests. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 35 days, I have done almost 200 different ad sets. Testing, 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 testing. Over 200 different ad sets. And when I hear people say, well, I tested 4 or 5 ads, I start laughing. I'm like, you didn't test. You just started. I test 4 or 5 different ones a day. Right? And I let them run. We're still getting people to come in, but something's going to be better than the other. I don't overthink it. I don't overanalyze it. I take a look at it. I make an adjustment to one little thing. That works better. Yes. That didn't work better. No. Get rid of it. Do another test. Test, 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 test. So don't get in the way of your own success. Occam's razor. Ladies and gentlemen, Occam's razor. For those of you that don't know it, look it up. For those of you that do know it, right, what I want you to do, right, is understand that the answer is the simplest answer of them all. Or that's how the definition goes. Somehow like that, right? Something like that. So in the end, what I want you to understand, right, if you didn't feel you did something well, I want you to understand that you have to master your craft. Do it again. Get in front of, right? If it's speaking, get in front of a camera. If it's running Facebook ads, you're going to test. You're going to test. You're going to test, right? If it's you're doing a webinar, listen to it. Have somebody else listen to it. Watch your conversions. Don't overthink it though, right? Don't overthink it. It's not worth it. It'll drive you batty. Again, we're going to throw a lot of stuff at you for our Masters Business Academy people, right? With the Masters framework, and we're going to throw a lot of stuff at you. It's a marathon, people. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We want perfection. Perfection. 100% perfection. If you're at 95%, 90%, 97%, 99.9%, if you're at 99.9% and you're not at 100%, we won't know if it's what we showed you or because you're not giving the 100%. It's that simple. It's life's split test. So again, don't get in the way of your own success. In the end, I can promise you, keep it simple, right? Keep it short and simple. We'll use that. Keep it simple. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Always keep that in mind when you're in business, right? I can promise you, if you're overwhelmed, you're going to get in the way of your own success. If you're overwhelmed, I promise you, take a day off. It'll be there tomorrow. Take a weekend off. Let the mind open up. So ladies and gentlemen, again, my name's Joe Barnes. All right, I'm one of the founders of the Masters Business Academy, Masters Framework in the High Ticket Sales Group. Other than that, please take away something from this. Keep it short and simple. I promise you, this is what works. I see so many people out there overloading you with all kinds of templates and this and that and everything else. Ladies and gentlemen, just master your craft one thing at a time. You master it one thing at a time. Within a few months, you're going to be a pro at it, right? If you're in the Masters Business Academy with the Masters Framework, we are going to coach and consult you the whole way through. We're going to get you spot on. So we're going to make sure you are doing it right. So other than that, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I want you to have a phenomenal day.
Man, it's the Ville. We got civilians in the hills, on the streets, in the trap, on the beach. Dealerships worth a few million each. Random folks that'll take pictures with you, say cheese. Music City represent, talking web out.
Please subscribe and hit the bell. When you do, we're going to send you our $297 Promo Riches course completely for free, so you can learn how to make money online from anywhere. Plus, you'll qualify for our weekly cash giveaways, free prizes, and more free training. So hit that subscribe button now.